Yo, call me a monkey Dido. I'm about to hit you with my Luffy. Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Games Kids. Today, and only today, we are here to talk about Sega and Sonic and everything that's been going on the last 24 hours. Obviously, with no Sonic in the state of play, now people are getting questioning, hey, when is this next game happening? Sega's financials drop, so we're about to talk about all that. So there's a lot to go through. This might be one of those videos where it's just straight up like a full-on yap session the entire time. So make sure to subscribe, enjoy the content, and let's lock it. So first and foremost, right? State of play, right? We had great state of play yesterday. I will say, I was happy with the state of play overall. I think, no Sonic aside, you got stuff, like new Kenna game, you got Tokon characters, you got Dead or Alive coming back, you had Konami with a big segment of them basically coming back to life. They got Metal Gear Solid 4 finally ported. You've got, what was the other stuff that they had? They had a new Silent Hill game. They have a new Castlevania. Like, it seems like Konami is finally back in the fray, which is hysterical, like, because we're about to talk about Sega. But there was a distinct lack of even Sega at this state of play. You know what I mean? It felt like they really wanted to focus on that. Even Square Enix wasn't here, and a lot of my Square Enix friends are very upset. Shout out Aru, going through it with no FF7 Part 3 title reveal even. But yeah, we had a state of play, and it got people said that we can get Sonic. Sonic even roasted me. They came into my chat going Lamau. Like, it was very much aware, apparently, that it wasn't going to happen. Now, let's talk a little bit about that, right? I do think, in the grand scheme of things, it not showing up here, I don't want to say all my hopes are gone, but I have now officially, I've entered the sort of zone, right? Not in a sense of oh God, what the fuck is going on? We're so cooked or everything. We're about to see anime boobs over here. Don't worry about that. But in the sense that all right, in the start of February, I was super confident. I mean, by December. In December, I was like, all right, it's going to be Game Awards, right? If a game is coming out, if a major Sonic release is coming out, right, this year in 2026, it was either going to be announced at the Game Awards, it was either going to be announced at, a thing in January, like maybe a Nintendo Direct or something, or this state of play. So now that none of them, it's not showed up anywhere, right? And we are damn near the end of February. I mean, I guess we're halfway through that February. It gets me a little bit damn. Now, again, let's be very clear. I, at the end of the day, don't mind if a game is not coming this year for mainline Sonic. We all want that next game to be pristine, immaculate. You know what I mean? We all want that next Sonic game to be, one of the best looking things out there, one of the best games out there. Sonic just got its rep up with Frontiers, and so they know that they can't just go back down. And they even got the rep up with Sonic Shadow Gens. There's a lot more eyes on the seas because of the movie. Even Crossroads, reviewing super well. So overall, there's a bigger trend and happy gland going on with Sonic the Hedgehog, so they don't want to screw it up. So let's be clear that when I say I really want the game this year, it's that's the fan in me that really wants it. But I 1,000,000% understand that if they need more time, they need more time. Now, do I still think there's a chance it's this year? Maybe. I mean, at this point, the only thing I can bank on and think about is a Sonic Central. Now, the only reason that I could think a Sonic Central is happening is because of Crossroads, right? So if we look at the Crossroads schedule right now, the II Festival is going on, right? But if you look over here, they put the schedule out for the content of the game. So Tangle Whisper come out the 25th of February. Now, after Tangle and Whisper, we don't know any of the next free characters coming to the game. So that means they either got to drop we got to wake up morning, boom, here's the next set of free characters, or they're going to appear somewhere like they did in a state of play. And the only place I could think about, because we just got a state of play, and I don't think they're going to show them in a Nintendo Direct, because I don't think Nintendo has the marketing for Sonic Race Crossroads, nor, to be fair, would they want it when they have 2 of their own kart racers that they just released. I feel like it's got to be either a YouTube drop or a Sonic Central, right? A Sonic Central is still very possible at the end of the day, right? Now, granted, some people are thinking at this point they're going to save stuff. They don't, to be fair, have to drop characters. I mean, I guess they do have to drop characters every month, but we know Mega Man is coming out in March, so they technically do have a bit of a buffer time to announce the next free characters. They could just be like, hey, Mega Man's coming out first, drop the trailer for that, and bada bing, bada boom, right? But That's the only like lead and speculation we have in terms of that. But yeah, again, for the No State of Play show and No Here, people are now a little bit worried about not even just Sonic, but like Sega. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the crazy part. Now, the real worry has come from Sega's financial report. So last night, Sega had their financial calling. I'm going to go through a few of these tweets just to get some insight on what might be going on internally at Sega as we figure this out. So Sega Informant over here just posted the results. Presentation has been released. Let's take a dive through it. So let's get right into this over here. So due to the failing results of acquisitions of Rovio and Stake Logic, Sega... Oh my God. Okay. All right. Now, what's got people really like, scared, amped up, however you want to call it, is Sega released their financial report, and we're going to go over it, and we might be able to get some answers on what the future might hold. So here we go. The results presentation has been released. Due to the failing results of acquisitions of Rovio and Stake Logic, Sega is taking a combined impairment loss of 46 billion yen. I think that's like, it's either 400 million or 40 million, one of those numbers. Either way, they're losing money. They will be ceasing acquisition efforts for the time being, which, yeah, that's probably for the better. I mean, this whole thing where companies are just acquiring other companies is not a great idea. Now, I'm going to be so honest with you. When Sega bought Rovio, I always thought it was kind of weird. Not in the sense of like, it's a bad thing, but I just felt like it was like, I felt like it was 5 years too late, and I know Rovio has a bunch of mobile games that generate money, but I feel like when they bought them, it was like after that mega zeitgeist of like Angry Birds and the 10 other games Rovio is pumping out on mobile. Now, obviously, they grabbed them for their knowledge of mobile games so they can release other mobile projects. Like I know they had help from Rovio for games like, a Sonic Rumble and however, but I don't know. I always thought the Rovio buy was just kind of like we want a mobile division to be really strong, but I felt like it was after things were said and done, and I almost feel like Rovio joined in, but like they didn't adapt with the times. I mean, you think of like what are the biggest mobile games now? It's gacha games, right? Like actual 10 pull, 5 pulls, whatever. And Rovio doesn't really do that. They're more into like free to play, level based, small microtransactions. Like it's not the same as like an actual gacha that would make them crazy bank. I still think if they made like an actual Sonic gacha, like I'm not talking about Dash or whatever, like an actual like, hey, you pull for Sonic characters, some are better than others, you get some crazy moves, that would make insane money. But yeah, this was the thing that they had over here. So Rovio approximately 31 billion yen, suspend large scale acquisitions, implement the acquisition of treasury stocks, which that stuff, whatever to me. Expectations regarding possible profits have been slashed from 37 billion profit yen. Again, yen is different than USD, to now 13 billion. Here, let me actually, I'm gonna look it up. 13 billion yen in USD. We're gonna find out together. That's about 85 million. Oh, okay. So it's more. All right. So I gotta put my mental numbers down for that, which is still a lot over here. So, anyways, only real bright spot is the pachinko. So they made a loss this year for sure, right? So right now Sega is betting on a boost in sales through sales campaigns and the release of Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties, the launch of Sega Football Club Champions, and the start of broadcasting Bakido. So, I mean, this is kind of this isn't great necessarily. Now, here's what I will say, right? Here's what I will say. I think it was always going to be the case, and people forget this, and this is where I want people to chill out a little. 2025 was never going to be nearly as big as 2024, right? I grabbed the picture over here. Look at 2024's fucking lineup. Look how crazy this was for them. They had Yakuza 8. They had Unicorn Overlord, again, both critically acclaimed. They had Persona 3 critically acclaimed. They had Banana Rumble, which people love Banana Rumble. SMT Vengeance, Soul Super Well, Metaphor, new IP, great seller, 2 million plus, like Game Awards love. Sonic Shadow Gen's great critical reception, 2 million copies sold. Like, this is like to me, this is like Sega's games. These are their babies. You got Yakuza, Sega, you got Yakuza, Persona, Sonic, all in a year. And this isn't without like mainline games for all of these. Like, this was an insane year. They were even the #1 publisher of games like on Metacritic based on Metascores and awards at the Game Awards. Like, they ate in 2024. So there was no like think about this logically, right? We got these games this year. What could be ready the next year? You're not gonna have a Persona game ready the next year. You're not gonna have a mainline Yakuza ready the next year. You're not gonna have a new Metaphor. You know, you're not gonna have something like a Unicorn Overlord. Let me show you the 2025 lineup, bro. This was 2025 for Sega. It was Virtua Fighter Remaster, spin-off Yakuza, 2 Point Museum, Sonic Rumble, you know, House of the Dead Remaster, whatever. Shinobi, which is great, you know, but again, smaller title. Demon Slayer, another arena fighter. I don't even know what this is. And then Phantom Persona 5X mobile game and Sonic Racing Crossroads. I would argue the literal only full genuine release for them was Sonic Racing Crossroads. Like genuinely, I truly believe that in my heart. The only real game, like big launch game, $70 big release for them was Sonic Racing Crossroads. Now, Persona 5X definitely made money on the mobile side, which we'll talk about a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you look at the lineup for last year, no shit, they didn't make that much money. And remember, in 2024, they also had Sonic Movie 3 in December, making nearly $500 million. So 2024 was like a insane year for Sega. And so 2025 was never going to be a massive follow-up. You know what I mean? Like, unless, you know, we start to see Sega grow a bit more, get more teams. But yeah, the lineup last year was not great, barring, you know, Sonic Racing Crossroads, which again, we really love. But again, apparently underperformed back in their initial sales previews of 1.5 million in October. We still don't have updated sales numbers as we're going to go through here over this. So yeah, and their current release schedule based on this, not great. You know what I mean? What are the upcoming releases? I mean, we have Yakuza Kiwami, which people are excited for. We got Persona 4 Revival. But the problem is with these, like, we don't even know when any of them are coming. Like, we've heard of this Crazy Taxi game. We don't know what's happening. Stranger Than Heaven, that's going to be the new IP by RGG. I have high hopes for that. Golden Axe, which, okay. Total Hammer for the PC nerds. Jet Set Radio, which will be big when they show it. Total War, again, PC people. Streets of Rage, again, I don't think that's going to be a big deal. And then the Virtua Fighter game, Alien Isolation, which this thing is like forever away. So we need more games than that, for sure. We need more games and we need updates on some of these. Now, it goes over here. Let me see. These are their pachinko sales and everything. Right now, Sega is betting on a boost in sales through sales campaigns of this, which we read through. Unshockingly to anybody, for us at least to care about, Football Manager, whatever. Sonic Rumble, various KPIs, particularly customer acquisition, fell short of expectations. Strengthened operations through updates and other measures. I mean, is this one really shocking for Sonic Rumble? I mean, we've talked about it for a long time. You know, how Sonic Rumble was a game that, like, yeah, it's fun. We played it and we kind of dipped. It's not a great staying power kind of game. It's never been a game I've thought, oh man, I gotta go back in here for this, right? Maybe a console release will help its boosted sales. Like, I really do think a Switch version of this game feels like it would be a massive move. But yeah, as it is now, I mean, it's not a game even I go back to that much, nor do I think you guys go back to. You know what I mean? So I'm not surprised that Sonic Rumble is not doing so hot, and I don't know how long it's gonna last. But, you know, it is what it is, right? So this was the last tidbit of the financials that were really a big deal. They are only planning to release 4 major titles this year, a decrease from the last projection, which planned to release 4 major new titles, maximize title potential through enhancements of sales capabilities, continue to expand transmedia business. So, yeah, there's our confirmation. So for the next fiscal year, which means basically from now to next year, we're going to get 4 major titles from Sega. Now, based on their upcoming lineup, when they say major title, what does that mean? Is it going to be, I assume Persona 4 Revival kind of counts for them, right? I assume that's probably going to come out this year. One of these has to come out this year, one of the Revival projects. Like, I feel like it's Jet Set. I think Jet Set is probably going to be the other one that comes out this year. And obviously, we're praying for something Sonic. Now, if we want to talk about Sonic a little bit more, this was Tails Channel's breakdown of it. So, the Sonic game series is going to 4 million units so far in fiscal 2026. So this was like all year long last year. They sold 4 million units of Sonic. According to the third quarter earnings of Sega, 1.7 million units sold in the reporting period. It's down 1.6 million from 3.4 million compared to the same period last year. So my guess, so this is 1.7 million from this is like about October to December. This is probably a good thing because it probably means Sonic Racing Crossroads has hit 2 million. Because in October, they said that they were at 1.5 million. And I doubt that they sold 1.7 million of like many other games besides a few more copies of Shadow Gens or Frontiers or Superstars. So you'd assume a good bulk of this is Crossroads, probably the game being at around 2 million, which I still think is good. Company's entertainment business, which includes Sonic, recorded 242 billion yen so far. Rumble fell short of expectations. No update life-to-date numbers on Sonic Racing Crossroads, which, again, I wish they would update, but it is what it is. So, as a whole, this is a rough third quarter for Sega's parent company in fiscal 2026. Overall performance fell below initial expectations. They said due to slow video game and free-to-play sales, as well as impairment losses of 46 billion yen from the acquisition of Rovio. So, yeah, this is, not a great quarter for them, but again, it's what I'm telling you guys. Like, I don't think this is the time to doom and gloom, right? Like, again, you think about their 2024 lineup. 2025 was never going to line up the same way this did. I think by the end of this year, maybe second half of this year into next year, we're going to get a stellar lineup from Sega. But yeah, I mean, it just wasn't in the cards this year. But like, you know, some people doom posting be like, oh man, like now they have to show the next game. Like Sonic Racing Crossroads, you know, wasn't enough. Now, I agree. Look, I will say they've been discounting Sonic Racing Crossroads for 40% off a lot. Like if you look at this, all holiday season was 40% off. Right now, the game is 40% off with a 8 times festival chance. Like they clearly want people to go back in the game. You know what I mean? They just want people in. They want people playing it. And I'm hoping, you know, that the feedback from this isn't, well, maybe we won't do year 2 content. I hope the feedback is maybe, hey, let's do even more for the game to feed the existing players and get some extra sales. And maybe we are seeing the game is selling more and more copies throughout it, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think some people dooming, it's a little too soon to doom. The next game is going to come. We're going to get it when we do. Like, look, I can hype it as much as you guys do, but we all want that next mainline game to be something massive. Now, granted, I do think the next mainline game might still be next year, and we'll get something this year. I think one of the 4 major games they're probably planning is probably a Sonic game. I just wonder what it could be. You know, I feel like they would have announced it because they announced Racing Crossroads 8 months before launch. And again, unless say Sonic Central is coming out pretty soon or fairly soon, I don't know, man. I feel like we might be getting maybe nothing. Maybe it is going to be nothing for the 35th anniversary, but I doubt it. I feel like something will come out. You know, whether it's a remaster, whether it's a collection. I feel like a collection might start to be the safest thing. You know, I would do, at this point, bro, like Sonic Heroes Adventure 1 and 2, at the very least, like ports of the old games in an HD package. I think like that would work. You know, it wouldn't be the most hype thing ever, but that would make a lot of people happy and get a lot of, you know, sales up there. And so I'm hoping for the best for them. And obviously, you know, people are waiting for the announcement of Persona 6 from Sega, the next mainline Yakuza to be announced, right? Last year was the buffer year with, you know, or even this year, you know, with the remaster, but we haven't had an announcement of Yakuza 9 yet, which I'm sure is going to come and people are going to be hyped for that. So yeah, look, Sega had a bad quarter. It happens, bro. I don't think people need to doom and gloom. I mean, we are in that middle process with Sega where they are, you know, upping and changing their management. There was like another thread by Sega informing that I'm not going to go over completely here, but basically the gist of it was that like under new management at Sega, there are now branches of Sega that like are making sure single player games are the focus, and there's another branch that making sure, you know, free to play, you know, microtransaction, Rovio stuff, you know, mobile stuff all does super well. So I think they're gonna be fine. I just think that Sega needs to get at a point where they are pumping out games at a decent pace, you know, without having a year like, you know, like this. You know, I mean, you need a year that has a little bit more stuff like this, but that's going to come naturally to when Sega is making more money. They can have more teams, they can hire more people, and they can lock in, essentially. You know what I mean? So that's my take on the financial situation and what's going on there. And like I said, it's like, it's not the biggest deal in the world that we didn't get the newest Sonic game at the State of Play. They're going to announce it sometime, you know? So I'm thinking at this point, probably Summer Games Fest, right? Or even again a Sonic Central. My argument against Sonic Central is just that like Sonic Centrals just aren't as big as these like mainline presentations, but maybe they want Sonic Centrals to be really big. You know, maybe that's what they're gonna go for. You know, maybe that's just the life they're thinking about going through for Sonic. But regardless, you know, I don't think it's doom and gloom. We're gonna be all right. You know, we're still gonna get Sonic games. Sonic is still doing better than it ever has. You know, Sonic Team has a bigger budget than they ever have. And dude, do you know like how crazy we're at the point of with Sonic? It's like, if that next mainline game isn't massive, a lot of people are gonna lose hope, because we just got Frontiers, which was great. We got Shadow Legends, which people like adored. That was like, oh my god, this is amazing, this is polished and everything. And I feel like there's a lot riding on this next mainline game to be hype, over the top. We had that thing where they were testing these incredible animations and everything. So yeah, I think things are gonna be okay, man. It's just, listen, you just gotta be a little bit patient. You know, games are different than they used to be. You know, I was thinking about this, like Mario. Dude, Mario Odyssey, on 9 years since Mario Odyssey came out, guys. Like, next year will have been a decade since the last mainline 3D Mario. Now, I know there was Bowser's Fury, but that's the equivalent of like Shadow Gens, where it's like, all right, that's cool, but that's not the main dish, you know? So I'm praying, as much as I want the next 3D Mario, you know, but it's the same thing as 3D Sonic. We're like, all right, well, if we want Sonic to be this, you know, polished, big, mega experience that rivals genuinely, you know, Mario in sales. And I think even Sega, like, my thing about Sega is, I think, based on even their like sales predictions for stuff, I still think that they think they're bigger than they actually are. You know, like, I think their sales expectations for their franchises are still above what they think they are. But that's a good thing, because I think ultimately it means they want to work towards higher sales, which means ultimately we're going to get better products, because they're going to work harder, make better stuff, you know? But when it comes to Racing Crossroads specifically, I pray that the takeaway isn't, hey, we're not going to do year 2 content. I hope the takeaway is, all right, let's get a lot of goodwill for this. You know, let's show that, hey, we're continuing to drop festivals and characters, and we're going to get free characters and free content and everything. So hopefully that stuff grows and does well. But I am starting to lean mentally on a remaster coming out this year. I think that's what it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a collection. Dude, if they did the advanced collection, I mean, that would be huge. And I can't imagine it would take that much effort, you know, or even maybe a new 2D game. Maybe they've been cooking a 2D game. We're all saying a 3D game. They could have been making a 2D game this entire time, which I honestly believe at this point. I'm more inclined to think a 2D game's coming out this year than a 3D one at this point. But of course, in the comment section below, please let me know what you think the future of Sonic is. What game do you think is coming out? What do you think is going on? But yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, while it wasn't here and Sega's not doing great this holiday season, 4 major titles this year are coming. One of them is probably going to be a Sonic game. And if it isn't, it's fine. We have 35th anniversary stuff. They're going to drop animations. They're going to drop shorts. Sonic Movie 4 marketing starts later this year. I mean, Sonic Movie 4 comes out in March, guys, which means we're going to start to see the marketing roll out this fall, presumably like September, October time. And that's going to be incredibly hype. You know what I mean? And that's going to lead into next year being a massively profitable year for Sega and Sonic Team and whoever. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you all think in the comment section below. And of course, I'll see you all next time. Peace out.